In today's video, you will witness a profound and emotional love story between CEO James and Lai to Deep, a romance that goes beyond sweet moments, becoming a journey through darkness, defying fate, and rediscovering the light of life and love. James, a successful and talented CEO once admired for his boldness and decisiveness, faced the brink of death when John, a hidden enemy, orchestrated a horrific car accident. The car plunged down a slope, spiraled midair, and shattered, just like their unfinished dreams. Everyone believed James couldn't have survived, but as if by a miracle, he did, bearing not only physical wounds but deep emotional scars as well.
The accident left behind more than just scars. It made both of them realize that the most precious thing was not fame or fortune, but simply each other's existence. In the days following the accident, Deep barely left James's hospital bedside. She cared for him with gentle devotion, not just as a lover, but as someone whose soul was inseparably bound to his. Amid the pain and uncertainty about the future, James saw something in her eyes he had once forgotten: faith. They started over quietly, without fanfare. Just slow, peaceful days, sipping tea together on the porch, listening to the rain at night, or simply leaning on each other in silence. James learned to slow down. Deep learned to forgive the past. In that seemingly peaceful pause, both knew the storm wasn't over. John had not given up, but this time they were no longer alone.
James was no longer fighting by himself. Deep was no longer just standing behind him. She was walking beside him. Together, they prepared to face John, not with violence, but with wisdom, unity, and above all, an unshakable love.
Their love was no longer a dream, it was faith, strength, and a place of refuge when the storms returned. Watch today's video to witness one of the most touching chapters in the journey of James and Deep, a story where love is tested, forged in fire, and ultimately shines brighter than ever, like the sunrise after the darkest night. Because sometimes it is the fiercest trials that reveal the most beautiful truths.
After the terrifying incident that nearly took James's life, Lai to Deep chose to step away from the glittering city. She returned to her hometown, a place filled with childhood memories, cool breezes by the village pond, and her aunt, the only family she had left, bound to her like a mother. Far from the elegant image she once carried beside CEO James, Deep was, in truth, no stranger to hardship. Her years growing up in a poor rural village had shaped her into a resilient, hard-working woman. This return home didn't make her feel lost or hesitant. It felt like returning to where she truly belonged. Every early morning, she and her aunt ventured into the garden to pick lychees. Each deep red cluster was soaked in sweat, effort, and the echoes of old memories. This year's lychee harvest was abundant, but it also came with worries, as the two women carried heavy baskets down the red dirt slope to the local market to earn their daily living. The road was long, the sun harsh, and their shoulders ached under the weight, but Deep pressed on, diligent and strong, as if she had never left her hard-working past. She wasn't forcing herself to adapt to a tough life. Rather, hardship had always been a part of her, stitched into the very fabric of her growth. At first, the people in the market were surprised by the woman who somehow seemed different, but they quickly came to like her for her warmth, humility, and simplicity. No one knew she once lived in a grand villa, once rode in luxury cars, because she never mentioned it. Deep wasn't living in the past, she was fully present in the now. And in those quiet early mornings, the sound of roosters crowing, the scent of straw in the air, the cheerful shouts exchanged at the rustic market, Deep found herself again. No city lights, no high-stakes meetings, no judgmental media eyes, just her aunt, and the peace of a woman who finally knows what she's living for. While Deep quietly lived each day in her countryside hometown, tending to the lychee garden, visiting the market, and sharing simple meals with her aunt, James. The man once defined by business strategies and relentless schedules was secretly preparing something truly special, the very first real birthday celebration of Deep's life. From what seemed like casual conversations, James had learned something that deeply pained him. Deep had never had a proper birthday party. No cake, no candles, not even a sincere birthday wish. Her childhood birthdays had passed silently in the corner of an old kitchen. Her adolescent years marked the day with nothing more than sighs and being forgotten. Throughout her youth, Deep had grown so used to being overlooked that she even forgot she was worthy of being remembered, of being loved, especially on a day meant to honor her. James couldn't accept that. He wanted to rewrite that story, not to impress her, but to make it right. To let Deep know there is someone in this world who truly wants to make her happy, not just in fleeting moments, but in every detail of life. Quietly, James reached out to Deep's son, the boy she once tearfully sent away to study abroad in the US. Under painful and unfinished circumstances, James arranged for him to return to Vietnam in secret, keeping everything hidden from Deep. He also visited Deep's foster parents, the kind souls who raised her during childhood, and asked for permission to hold a small birthday gathering at their humble but memory-filled home. Even James's mother, who had once kept her distance from Deep due to her own prejudices, took her first steps toward reconciliation. She didn't say much, but the way she folded napkins, picked flowers, and gently placed the cake on the table, it all spoke volumes. The small gathering was not just a birthday party. It was the product of healing hearts, once closed off, now opening slowly because of genuine love. That evening, as the golden light faded from the tiled rooftops, Deep returned home after a long day. She never expected that the familiar courtyard, once filled only with wind and shadows, would now shimmer with soft string lights and gently swaying balloons. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming. Then she saw James, in a simple white shirt, stepping out from behind the porch, holding her son's hand. Their smiles, one from the man she loved, the other from her own flesh and blood, glowed in the sunset, creating a scene so beautiful it took her breath away. The words, "Happy Birthday, Deep," rang out, not loud, not flashy, but warm, like a voice echoing from the past. The orphan little girl now stood there, a grown woman shedding tears, not from sadness, but from being loved. She held her son tightly, unable to speak through the emotion. James approached, placed a hand gently on her shoulder, and handed her a small gift box. Inside was a delicate bracelet engraved with the words, "Thank you for being born." Deep broke down in tears. Not from a passing emotion, but because in that moment, she realized she was no longer alone. She had a wonderful son, a man who would do anything for her, and a family imperfect, but sincere. That birthday party wasn't just a milestone, it was a turning point. A door opening into a new chapter of Deep's life, where she no longer had to survive or endure, but could finally live and be loved. That family meal was more than just a birthday celebration. It was a sacred moment, marking the rebirth of everything once thought lost. The meal was humble, filled with familiar dishes, a bowl of sweet leaf soup lovingly cooked by Deep's foster mother, a plate of golden crispy spring rolls prepared by James's mother herself, and the joyful laughter shared between Deep's son James and the two women, symbols of two worlds, two generations, all gathered around the same table. Golden string lights gently twinkled throughout the modest home, and reflected in Deep's eyes was a deep and complete happiness. James quietly watched each person, feeling an overwhelming sense of rare peace. He knew that this moment, when everyone was sharing stories and laughter together, meant that he and Deep now had the strength to face John, the one who had caused them so much pain and separation. Because it was not wealth, power, or prestige, but love, connection, and the sacred meaning of a family that truly provided the fire to guide them, warm them, and carry them through the challenges ahead. They were no longer fighting alone. With them now was family, people ready to hold their hands, listen, believe, and wait. Every loving glance, every laugh, every simple birthday wish in that meal was a silent promise. No matter what tomorrow brings, we will not let go of each other. And from deep within her heart, Deep understood. A home doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be the place you long to return to. Love doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be strong enough to hold on through every storm. The party came to a close, but their journey was only just beginning. And this time, they wouldn't walk forward with wounded hearts as before, but with unwavering belief that truth will conquer lies, light will overcome darkness, and love, when sincere enough, can overcome anything. A journey not only to protect their happiness, but also to confront and settle the debt of justice with John, the man who sowed pain, deceit, and danger. Will love and the strength of family be enough to help them weather the storm? What new schemes will John unleash? And how will James and Deep's counterattack begin? Don't miss the next episode, where secrets will be revealed, plans will unfold, and the battle between darkness and light enters its most intense phase. Hit follow and turn on notifications to join James and Deep on their path to reclaim justice. Uncover the truth, and above all, protect the home they've risked everything to build.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Mọi người ơi, thì hiện tại là kênh của mình bây giờ thì nó đang bị rất là flop á, mọi người đang bị bóp tương tác rất là nhiều, nên là video hiện tại ở kênh này thì mình lên không có đều video nha mọi người. Vài ngày thì mình mới lên một video thôi. Và mọi người ơi, nếu như mọi người yêu quý và ủng hộ cho kênh của mình cũng như là Lý Tưởng Diệp ấy, thì mọi người hãy đăng ký kênh cũng như là đón xem những tập tiếp theo của kênh để cho kênh mình có thể hoạt động trở lại bình thường nha mọi người. Và mình rất mong là sẽ nhận được sự ủng hộ từ phía mọi người, bởi vì kênh thực sự bây giờ thì cái tiềm năng phát triển của kênh thì nó đang bị hạn chế rất là nhiều, điều đó khiến cho mình không có động lực để ra video mới á mọi người. Thì mong là mọi người sẽ xem và ủng hộ kênh mình nhiều hơn để mình có thể có động lực để ra những video tiếp theo hay hơn, đều hơn và hấp dẫn hơn để gửi đến mọi người. Và mọi người nếu như thấy video hay thì có thể like cũng như chia sẻ video này đến những người khác giúp mình với nha. Cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều.